Name's 2hei, aka the Loop God, aka the Flannel King, Durag General, and what I do is I make dope beats. Have a love for it, passion for it since I was a kid, and my goal is to try to be like my heroes, like a Tribe Called Quest and the Pharrells out there. My dad put me on to hip-hop at a very young age. He was in his 20s when I was growing up, so I got to see like how the golden age of the 90s were pretty much. My mom was really into like the 90s R&B, and then I just kind of experimented, found my own sound, found out about a Tribe Called Quest, found out about Dilla, and then eventually I ended up becoming a beat maker. I'm from Hampton, Virginia, the Peninsula boy. That's where I'm from, that's what I love. I also be repping Newport News because I live there currently, so. For fun, I go bother my parents because they don't live too far, because they're funny. I go to the gym so I can work out so I don't look like I'm crazy out here. Play video games, and then I watch a lot of basketball. I'm a Bulls fan, but everybody who know me know like Steph Curry's like my favorite player. So shout out to Wardell. When I first went into beat making, it was just like more of a hobby. I was just kind of happy I was learning how to do it. I didn't take it as serious at the time. It wasn't until a couple individuals saw what I was doing and was like, yo, I would stick to what you're doing, just like stay in that lane that you're in. There were like outside forces forcing me to try to be like everybody else, but I didn't want to. Now my goal is, being from Hampton, trying to create a soundscape that represents us. You hear about like Virginia Beach and Norfolk all the time. They all have their certain soundscapes. They got their premier producers out there. My goal is to create like a soundscape that when you come to Hampton or even Newport News, driving through and you bump like that 2hei beat, it's just like, oh yeah, this is like that Hampton. Similar to like Wu-Tang, when you look at like RZA and what he did for Staten Island, like that's their sound out there. So I'm trying to do something similar to that. Just stay soulful with it. Make sure you're always around like different people in different genres of music. Don't always put yourself in a box, because I learned so many things from different types of artists. Also just collabing with them. They can show you things and you can show them, and y'all can create a whole different sound that'll just be crazy for the world to hear. Also too, they humble you too as well. I'm very humble when it comes to my music. I'm not very cocky at all. I'm always gonna just stay grounded when it comes to my music, because I know this is more of just a blessing to be where I'm at right now. Just to have those individuals with you, it just makes everything good. I know I would love to work with Q-Tip. That's like my idol pretty much. I would love to work with Nas. That's my favorite rapper. I'm just gonna say Sade. I'm gonna say never gonna happen, but I love Sade. I wouldn't mind working with Cordae. I think he's dope. Currency would be dope as well. If Mary J. Blige is like, hey, hit me up, so definitely. And any member from Wu-Tang would be dope too. The Vibe Fest was kind of like the period at the end for my year of 2022. The year kind of started off shaky. Went through a lot of things. My previous job, I wasn't really focused on the music like I should have been. The job was pretty much like 25/8, if you know what I mean. So I wasn't able to create as much, and I went months without making anything. It was kind of depressing, and I put myself in like in a really dark place. I eventually quit from there, but it still took time to recover from it and just to get back in the music scene. After a while, I finally did. I want to thank my parents for helping me out and my friends as well. So right when I was starting to get back into the music, that's when I heard about Vibe Fest. Shout out to Nico Aries. He told me to sign up for it. I wasn't too sure. He said, nah, just go for it. Just see what happens. I was like, all right. So I ended up doing it. And then the preparation for it was funny. I'm not big on beat battles. I just like to like showcase the music or whatever, but I actually went about it and just spent like hours just like tweaking everything pretty much to make sure it sounded right. When you go to a venue like Elevation 27, just entering that building, meeting artists that you heard of, some you never seen before or whatever, being on that stage. It was kind of the first time I was ever like nervous for real, because you talking about legends like Bink and LES is there. So you don't want to mess up. Even people like Hannon, what they done. It's kind of shaky at first, but just seeing the reaction when I started playing the music, and it didn't really hit me until I left the stage, and people who came up to me was just like, yo, like you're dope, and it made me realize like, oh man, I didn't know how dope I was for real until someone actually came up to me and was like, yo, and it was a bunch of people that said they want to work with me, and it's been like that ever since that day. So Vibe Fest for me, as far as like my career, since I first said I want to do music full time 3 years ago, been like a career defining moment. Like seriously, this is the most traffic I got ever for people that want to work with me. And I told my mom before, I was like, I'm overwhelmed, but it's like a good overwhelm. So I love it. So Vibe Fest, you gotta shout out to them for that opportunity. I got my beat tape coming out. It's called Hiko Tamashi Volume 3 Origins. The reason why it's Volume 3, because obviously I got a first and a second one that's out on like Apple Music, Spotify, and everything. I haven't made a beat tape since 2020, so that should let you know kind of what's going on as far as like me having to like work and stuff like that, and not dropping a lot of music. Now we're at that point now where I can finally drop some stuff. I got a lot of projects coming up with different artists. I'll definitely put that out soon enough on Instagram, speaking of Nico, me and him supposed to be working on a beat tape together, and it's an honor to be working with him. That's somebody I kind of like, looked up to when I first started. So for him to, say, hey, we should do a beat tape together, that's like whoa, that's real big. I just look forward to a lot of Hampton stuff, man. Like, we're gonna put Hampton on the map when it comes to this music scene. We're gonna change the soundscape. We're gonna do some different things, and it's gonna be dope, man. Like, I honestly just can't wait. For us in Hampton, we had to branch off more and go and venture off to like the Virginia Beach and stuff. I know sometimes it's like it's a thing where it's like, hey, we're gonna go to Norfolk, and you're like, we gotta go across the waters, and you're like, across the waters, like the Soulja Boy, like Drake, go across the waters. For me, for example, when I went to Vibe Fest, yeah, that was in Virginia Beach, but even when we had that the snowstorm or whatever was going on that day, like, I was still willing to drive there because that's how much love I have for music, the love I have for meeting new artists, also just to showcase my work and show the hard work that I put in. I was willing to drive over there, vice versa. And I think we have a couple things going for us. Like, I know they had an event down in Newport News last week. I think we're on the right track. If you're really about this music, it don't matter where it's at, you're going to be willing to travel no matter where to make sure someone hears your music. If you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to go over there, then you're not serious. You're not serious at all, because I don't care where I'm at. Someone from Richmond, Virginia reached out to me and said, hey, can you make it here by tomorrow to do this and that? Absolutely. Like, when it comes to the music, that's what it's all about. So, you just can't make any excuses. Let's just get out there, put out the music, and don't be afraid to collab with people that you might feel is like, they're not in my lane. You never know. Like, you never know what you might come up with. It might be something that could change the world musically. So you just never know. So, like, that's why I'm always open to collabing with almost, pretty much anybody. So it doesn't matter. Like, hey, your beats are kind of different from mine. Let's see what we can do though. Like, it doesn't matter. Shout out to my mom. Shout out to my pops. Shout out to my boy Omar the Groove. Shout out to New Type Josh. Shout out to all of Hampton. Shout out to all of Newport News. Shout out to 2hei757 VA. Shout out to Chicago, Deep Dish Pizzas, and also shout out to George Mason, Black Mason, all that. Yo, this your boy 2hei, aka the Luke God, and you're tuned in to Frequency VA. Peace.